I'm Sharon Rieger. I've worked for school districts as both a teacher and a physical therapist. Through these experiences, I've come to understand the needs of physically challenged students for proper positioning. I also know how difficult it can be for teachers and educational staff to move physically challenged students into position. My goal in this video is to discuss the medical and educational rationales for positioning programs, then talk about the kinds of equipment needed to carry out these programs. In case your district lacks therapy equipment, I'll also suggest some alternatives. Before we get started, please remember that all positions and ideas presented in this tape are individually tailored for these students. School personnel should not adopt these particular positioning strategies unless you had been advised to do so by a physical therapist. Positioning can be a very therapeutic form of exercise, especially for the severely physically challenged. The therapeutic effects help to improve flexibility in certain muscle groups and increase muscle trunk strength. Changing positions can produce increased energy and alert time and enhance visual opportunities. In the classroom, positioning programs offer teachers an opportunity to work on individualized educational program goals, especially in the gross and fine motor areas and communication areas. Positioning has been shown to aid in building independence with basic living skills. We'll be using a variety of equipment throughout this tape. Let me show you some of the equipment now. These are wedges. There are many sizes. For standers, we have 3 types: a supine, a prone, and an upright. These are bolsters, which come in several sizes: mats, towel rolls, and a side lier. The first position we would like to introduce is called supine. It simply means lying on your back. This is a good resting position. Medically, it provides a perfect way to stretch short muscles, such as the muscles on the back of your legs, the front of your hips, and between your legs. For those students who spend a great deal of time in a seated system, this may be a very effective way to stretch tight muscles. The supine position is useful for working fine motor IEP goals with the hands if material is appropriately placed. As you can see, bolsters, bean bags, and wedges work well. What do you do if you don't have this equipment? Here are a few suggestions. A large tin can from the cafeteria covered with a towel of soft padding works well for a short bolster. I've also had success with a covered newsprint roll or a carpet roll. Just use your imagination. I'm sure you can think of a substitute. The second position is side lying. Side lying provides a different position to work on stretching and strengthening the shortened muscles of the physically challenged child. Educationally, this position provides many opportunities for meeting fine motor, gross motor, communication, and vision IEP goals. As you can see, again, we'll use bolsters, wedges, and side lier equipment. For substitutes, try using the wall in place of a side lier, towel rolls, foam pads, and bean bags. The next position we will do is lying on the stomach. The medical rationale for this position varies greatly. Students usually benefit from stretching the front thigh and stomach muscles. This position also allows students to bear weight through their shoulders, elbows, and hands. Educationally, this is an ideal position to work in circle time and to work on communication, fine motor, and gross motor IEP goals. For equipment, you will need a wedge or bolster. Without these, bean bags, padded carpet rolls, or rolled up mats will work. Be extra careful of those students with gastrointestinal tubes in place. The third position we will do is called the 4-point position. This simply involves putting the student up on their hands and knees. We do this in order to bear weight on the arms and legs and to strengthen the neck, trunk, and shoulders. This position also begins the functional development sequence to crawling. Educationally, a teacher could again work on gross motor items such as head control, mobility, communication, and even progress to fine motor or sensory components. The 4-point position can usually be performed over a bolster or bolster substitutes. Also, a mat under the knees and hands makes it more comfortable. The next position is called tall kneeling. It simply means the student is upright on his or her knees. This allows the students to receive weight bearing through the hips. This position strengthens the stomach and back muscles, adds stretch components to the hip flexors, and builds upper extremity coordination and strengthening. Head control is also strengthened by this position. Educationally, this position allows work on communication, gross motor, fine motor, as well as other IEP skills. The location of this position permits teachers to work on any table activity. For equipment, use a mat under the knees for comfort. If this is too hard, a wedge could be placed under the knees in order to aid the student's pelvis. Again, a wedge could be substituted by a beanbag or a pillow. The next position is quite challenging. Nearly all physically challenged students will need extra help. This position is called half kneeling. It is the genuflect position, where your trunk posture is erect with one knee bent and in front of the student, and the other knee bent and foot in back of the student. Like in tall kneeling, we do this in order to bear weight on the hip and knee joints. In this position, the student can work on head control, upper extremity control, and trunk strengthening. This position also begins a developmental sequence to standing. In addition to the stretching of the front thigh area, the back of the lower leg on the ankle is also stretched. This is important since physically challenged students get very little stretching to their ankle muscles. Educationally, this is a good position to work on fine motor, communication, and gross motor IEP goals. For equipment, you can use a bolster between the legs in a diagonal pattern or use the stander as shown here. To substitute, try your cans and carpet rolls. Our final position is standing. This is one in which the student is either in a standing frame, as pictured here, or standing in front of a cabinet, sink, or table. In this position, knees are extended and body is erect. Medically, we do this for the same reason we do tall kneeling and half kneeling. In addition, standing adds some extra weight-bearing components to the ankle areas and of course helps balance, which is of course essential for walking. Your student will be in long leg braces for this position. Educationally, this position is ideal for vision goals, communication goals, and fine and gross motor IEP goals. For equipment, a supine, a prone, and an upright. The 3 types I have here are the most common. A physical therapist needs to adjust and demonstrate the standard's proper use and set time limits. Some of your more ambulatory students will not need the use of a stander and will be able to stand in front of a table or sink with or without long leg braces. For safety reasons, there is no substitute for a stander. I've shared with you ideas for positioning along with medical and educational rationales for using these positions. I've also tried to address some of the equipment questions you may have. Before leaving you, I must re-emphasize the importance of consulting your district physical or occupational therapist regarding these positions. They can determine how appropriate these positions are for individual students and how much time a student can spend in these positions. Finally, I'd like to take a hearty thanks to all these children for helping us out today. We've enjoyed spending time with you. Take care now.